When Judge Jeanette Vargas dropped her order dismissing Aubrey Drake Graham versus UMG recordings, she ended a rap beef in federal court. And she did it by doing something no one quite expected. She studied a rap battle and then explained it and hip hop to Drake. Drake sued his own label, UMG, over the release and promotion of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. He said the song defamed him, specifically that Kendrick's references to certified lover boy, certified pedophiles, and similar bars made a false accusation of criminal behavior. His lawyers framed it like a straightforward libel case, a false statement broadcast worldwide, resulting in reputational harm. On paper, it looked serious. But rap isn't paperwork. Judge Vargas set the stage by describing Not Like Us as a diss track created and consumed within the traditions of hyperbolic expression that define competitive rap. That one sentence basically dismantled the whole complaint because listeners expect exaggeration, not affidavits. What did Drake miss? That part. The judge walked through the lyrics line by line, not to parse their meaning, but to show how they existed inside a game everyone was playing. She cited earlier tracks in the beef, pointed out how Not Like Us responded directly to Drake's own taunts in tailor made freestyle, and made it clear this was a back and forth, not a broadcast of factual allegations. The cultural translation is you can't sue someone for out rapping you. The judge didn't stop there. She even broke down the visuals, the music video, the caged owl, the sex offender map overlay, and called them obviously exaggerated and doctored. Her opinion reads like a crash course in hip hop literacy, and it's breathtaking how patiently she explains the genre's language to the man who helped define it for a generation. The judge also tossed Drake's second degree harassment claim outright. And the allegation that UMG used bots or paid radio stations or online reactors to inflate streams, the court said that was speculative and unsupported by facts. Translation: this isn't Reddit, it's the Southern District of New York. You need evidence, not conspiracy. She granted UMG's motion to dismiss and instructed the clerk to close the case. Drake can appeal if he wants, but he can't amend. The law won't entertain a second round. A federal judge just codified in the permanent record that diss tracks are protected artistic expression. That's a first in this specific context, a rap beef immortalized as precedent. Drake went to court to reclaim control of his image, and instead, the court gave Kendrick the last word by declaring his lyrics art and protected. It's hard to imagine a sharper ending. This ruling didn't happen in a vacuum. A federal judge just affirmed that artists still have rights, that rap specifically still counts as expression. That's no small thing. America in 2025 has been testing how far it can bend the First Amendment before it breaks. Books banned, comedians silenced, protesters prosecuted, journalists under investigation. Against that backdrop, a Black art form that's been demonized since its birth, rap, just got a constitutional victory in federal court. By recognizing Not Like Us as protected expression, she affirmed that even the most abrasive, confrontational, and culturally specific forms of speech deserve protection. That matters because every era has tried to decide what kinds of art are acceptable, and every time it's Black artists who pay the price for pushing boundaries. This time, the judge said, no, rap is not a crime, it's commentary. In a political climate where the government applauds censorship disguised as standards and values, this opinion is a necessary reminder. The law doesn't exist to protect polite conversation. It doesn't exist to protect the feelings of a person. It exists to protect the raw, the uncomfortable, the offensive, the unfiltered, the kind of speech that challenges power. It's about whether art can still speak without permission. Whether Black artists can still use language the system doesn't understand to tell truths it doesn't want to hear. The moment he turned a rap beef into a federal case, he crossed a line no artist with sense ever crosses. He asked the government to control and define what is acceptable Black art. Drake risked everyone's freedom of speech to protect his pride. He endangered the culture. For decades, hip hop has been attacked from the outside by politicians, prosecutors, and pearl clutching pundits. But this came from inside the house, from a man who built his career off rap battles, punchlines, and wordplay, suddenly treating those same tools like contraband. Drake tried to turn Black art into a liability for Black culture. He can't come back from that. You can make another album, sure, but not another legacy. He's no longer the artist who ran the game for a decade. He's the one who ran to court when the game hit back. And the irony is, this ruling will outlive him. Not Like Us was already a cultural nuclear weapon, but now it's a historical record, a legal artifact. The opinion literally preserves the song as protected speech. Meanwhile, Drake etched his humiliation into case law. In one of the most clinical paragraphs of the order, Judge Vargas notes that she took judicial notice of pre existing public reporting about Drake's alleged relationships with very young women. She doesn't say the reporting is true. She doesn't have to. Her point is that the allegations were already out there long before Not Like Us. That means Kendrick didn't introduce the idea that Drake likes them young into the public square. That distinction obliterates the core of Drake's case. His entire lawsuit rested on the idea that Kendrick fabricated a false, reputation destroying accusation. But once the court recognized that this topic was already part of the public record through media coverage, commentary, and years of online discussion, the defamation claim collapsed even further. You can't sue someone for echoing what the internet's been whispering about you for years. And that's the part that will haunt Drake forever because in black and white, a federal judge just acknowledged that there's enough pre-existing public reporting about him and young women to merit judicial notice. She didn't validate it, she didn't endorse it, she simply acknowledged its existence. And that's enough. That acknowledgement now lives in the permanent record of the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. You can't PR spin or Tootsie slide that away. You can't delete it. It's there forever. This isn't gossip anymore. It's history. The court didn't say he did anything, but by citing the existence of the reporting, the judge legally recognized that the association between Drake and that kind of behavior is part of his public reputation, not a falsehood newly created by Kendrick Lamar. That's devastating. It means that in the eyes of the law, Kendrick didn't defame him. He summarized the discourse to a beat. Drake went to court to clear his name, and instead, the court wrote his reputation into the record exactly as it already existed: murky, controversial, and publicly questioned. That's not just a loss, it's a kind of narrative death. The persona he built, the smooth operator, the untouchable superstar, the lover boy, the sensitive man, is now legally inseparable from the one thing he tried to deny. And by trying to erase a lyric, he immortalized an allegation. And then there's the AI Tupac verse, the moment that sealed his fate. Judge Vargas actually names it in her order. She points out that before Kendrick ever released Not Like Us, Drake dropped Tailor Made Freestyle, a track that used artificial intelligence generated voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg to mock Kendrick. The opinion places that track as a precursor to Not Like Us. In other words, Not Like Us wasn't an unprovoked attack, it was an answer. The judge recognizes what the culture already knew, that Drake's AI stunt detonated the context that made Kendrick's response inevitable. By hijacking Tupac's voice, the voice that once spoke truth to power, and forcing it to taunt another beloved and respected West Coast artist from beyond the grave, Drake proved that the lyrics in Not Like Us were simply the inevitable and anticipated response. When Vargas later writes that the diss tracks were in dialogue with one another, she's talking about that very sequence. Tailor Made Freestyle provokes, Not Like Us replies. It's a call and response, not a deposition. Drake wasn't being defamed, he was being answered. It's poetic justice of the highest order. A dead man's stolen voice ended up protecting the living language of hip hop. Drake filed this lawsuit against UMG because he wanted a judge to fix what his own music isn't capable of. He can't take the L, and he can't seem to accept that even before the beef popped off, he was in the sunset years of his rap career. Drake turns 39 in a few weeks, and in rap years, he's an old man. Hip hop has always been a young person's sport, not about the number on your ID, but about how connected you are to the pulse of the world. And somewhere between the luxury estates and the AI gimmicks, Drake lost the pulse, if he ever truly had it. The hunger, the danger, the discovery, all of that is gone. What's left is maintenance and weakness. This lawsuit was an act of denial, a refusal to accept that the momentum has shifted. Kendrick didn't just outrap him, he outlived him artistically. The contrast could not be more clear. One man evolving, the other clinging. When Drake took this to court, he wanted validation that his version of reality still mattered. He wanted a federal judge to tell the world he hadn't been dethroned. But that's not how art works. You can't litigate your way back to the top. A judge can't restore the mystique that you yourself drained from your persona. By filing this lawsuit, Drake confirmed the one thing every legend dreads, that his reign is over. The kid who once made vulnerability sound cool ended his career trying to weaponize it. And when the dust settled, the court didn't give him back his crown. It gave him a case citation. It carved his fall and his reputation into stone. Case closed, game over.